I'm Bryan Van Norden, and I'm James Monroe Taylor Chair in Philosophy at Vassar College in the US. Well, one of the things we're hoping to accomplish is greater understanding between China and the West. And in particular, we want to bring into dialogue Western philosophy and the greatest figures in Chinese philosophy, especially Kongzi and Aristotle, each of whom is a foundational figure in their respective traditions.
Back in the States, most of our philosophical programs don't require any East Asian philosophy. Is that something that you're hoping to change?
Absolutely. I wrote a book, Taking Back Philosophy, a Multicultural Manifesto, and it was based on an op-ed piece that came out in the New York Times, in which Jay Garfield and I pointed out that only about 10% of doctoral programs in philosophy in the United States have anybody that can supervise a dissertation on Chinese philosophy. So that might not seem important, but consider how important and influential China is in the world today. People in the West need to understand China better, and we need people who can explain the depth and the significance of the Chinese philosophical tradition to them. So one of the things we hope to accomplish with this conference is to begin to bring these traditions into dialogue and to show people the interesting similarities and differences between the two traditions.
A deeper question that I've been asking everyone is, it's one thing to be able to celebrate one another's cultures around the world. How does this translate to the possibility for sustained peace?
Yeah. One of the things that, in my opinion, most leads to war is the demonization of others. The belief that other people don't have the same emotions we do. They don't have the same moral commitments we do. And so a common feature of many fascistic or militaristic movements is to treat other cultures as incommensurable or as fundamentally different. So by bringing different cultures into dialogue, we humanize people in other civilizations, and we learn to respect our differences rather than regarding our differences as some kind of sign of moral deficiency on the part of others. And I meet so many people who in China who love the United States and love Americans, so many Americans who love China and they love the Chinese people, but they see that there's an international tension between the governments and they're concerned that this may lead to war. So I think that dialogue is an important part of changing people's hearts and minds in a way that can lead to peace. Well, I think one of the most interesting lessons that Lao Tzu has to teach everybody is Lao Tzu says sometimes the effort to become virtuous actually makes you into a worse person. So I know we've all met somebody who really talks a lot about morality, but when you get to know them, you realize they're really just a hypocrite. They're really just self-righteous. So this was the kind of hypocrisy that Lao Tzu really focused on. Now, people like Kongzi, better known in the West as Confucius, recognized that problem, but they also said, well, look, you can get better at a lot of things. You can get better at playing musical instruments. You can get better at playing games. Why can't you get better at being a human being? And hypocrisy is a danger, but it's one you can be aware of and you can try to avoid. So for me, what's most inspiring about the Confucian tradition is this idea that we can get better at being human beings through study and practice.